Spider-Man, Spider-Man, can he swing into my collection? Well, it seems he has. Hey, how's it going everyone? Here with the Spider-Man No Way Home Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Actually my first real dive into the Marvel line. I mean, generally speaking, I avoid live action based figures, though I did pick up Rocket many moons ago for some photos, which I never got around to doing, so maybe that will come soon. However, this is my first brand new Marvel S.H.Figuarts pickup. Main reason I got it was for that Toby phase. Out of the Marvel movies, generally I prefer the Spider-Man ones for as well, and the original Spider-Man's a little bit more sentimental. One of the early ones I remember seeing back in the day, so I definitely had to grab this one. I do have the other two on pre-order as well. Bit of a shame about the which one is it? Friendly Spider-Man? No. Amazing Spider-Man. We don't have his face anymore, alas, but having all three of them together will be pretty cool. Now, if you are new to the S.H.Figuarts line, Tamashii quality sales, keep an eye out for those. One way to distinguish bootlegs or not. Now, in Japan, this was a premium bundle release, so we have a Tamashii web exclusive logo on the box. For other regions, that may not be there. So if you do see a subtle difference in box design with that logo not being there, that is why. Nothing to really worry about too much. Now, on the back, we have a selection of images showcasing the figure itself, the posability, and those web accessories that it comes with. But yeah, let's just pop him out of the box and yeah, we'll check out what it actually does come with. So, Spider-Man himself in the centre there, along with two unmasked heads. We have the smiling face, which doesn't quite look like him. I'm not sure what's based on. And then we have the more neutral, bit sad looking face there, which I do think does look like Tobey Maguire. When I see it on the feet, I'm like, that's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I definitely recognise it. And then we also have the mask scrumpled up that you can hold on to. And then we have, what's that, 5 pairs of hands, a pointing finger one for that meme that everyone loves. We've got hands to hold the mask. I think we've got some loose hands as well. Some has web shooter hands as well as the finger spread ones, which is good. So nice variety there. Actually, so those ones are, I think, for holding onto the web. It seems like, yeah, okay, so quick correction there. So these ones can hold on to one of the webs, which is really cool. Now in terms of webs, we do have, what's that, 2 really short stubby ones which are shooting out, and then we've got, I think that's 1 really long one and then 2 shorter ones. They have a little bit of loop on there to go around the wrist peg, which is pretty cool. So yeah, but I know I have seen quite a few people make their own webs. If you want more, I think let's get like a white wire from the dollar shop or something like that, and you can twist and make your own ones. Really cool. There's a lot of videos online about that, so if that's something you're keen on, I definitely recommend having a quick Google for those. Anyway, let's get them out and see that overall finish. Okay, as he spins around here, it's probably a little bit hard to see on camera, but man, he's got some nice texture. All the detailing on the suit is really nice. It has that full-on texture throughout the blue parts and red as well, and then with the raised web colouring as well. And then the colour separation from the red and the web is really nice, crisp and clean. Same with the red spider logo on the back. And then with the one on the front there, it's really nice. I don't really notice any obvious colour bleeding or any overlap in the paint job, which is really nice. Same with the face there, all the lines are crisp and it wraps around. And it looks really good. We've got the subtle detailing there for the nose into the mouth and chin. So the sculpting and the texture combined definitely brings this figure to life in my eyes. I don't have any other Spider-Man figures. I don't collect the Mafex one, which I know are highly rated as well. So I don't really have anything else to compare it against, so I do apologise there. But if you see anything, definitely drop a comment below what you think that Tamashii did a good job on, or maybe a poor job for this release in terms of both the stylistic choices and maybe even articulation and just the overall sculpting and finish. Now we'll jump into the articulation and then we can take a closer look at those heads a little bit later. Okay, starting with the head, yeah, we have a nice range of tilting action there from both. Underneath his head he has a peg, Might be a little bit hard to see, but his overall neck will pop off as well to allow the head switching. So we get the two main points of articulation, and when combined we get some nice natural looking action going on. He can twist and turn all the way around, which is really nice. But one thing to point out, if you twist him up too far, you will start seeing a bit of a gap there from the neck and his collarbone area. A little bit odd, so you do have to be careful if pushing it to the extreme. Now for the shoulder joints here, we have a very subtle butterfly joint. I feel like this could have been a little bit better. Something along the lines of the recent Naruto figure would have given him extra range of motion. It's a little bit fiddly with those upper arm joints for rotating in and around, but he can, get his arms up without too much issue, and the colours and lines do flow pretty well. That's, I guess, one of the hard things with a figure like this. You have the design of not only the webs but the red and blue as well. So if you try and get into some unique poses, it may start looking a little bit unnatural or strange. The elbow isn't too bad, a little bit restricted considering he doesn't have too much muscle mass there, but he does have a bicep swivel, which is nice. The wrist peg is really actually a bit big, so you get a really nice range of motion there, no real hindrance from the suit at all. Moving down to the torso area, we have a really good range of motion on the top area. Everything is swivel left and right, and we have somewhat decent forward motion. Going back a little bit more limited, but it's made up by the lower hip area, so we can get him bending almost all the way over, which is really cool. Going back as well, not too bad, but when combined with the lower hips, he can curve all the way around, which is pretty impressive. The one limiting factor for the articulation in the midsection is that lower joint from the stomach to the hips. He doesn't have much motion there. Would have been nice if he could swivel left and right more, but he does have that forward and back motion, which is quite nice. Now that brings us down to the hip area, and as we just saw before, it's pretty decent. He can do the splits pretty well, and everything will move from forward to back without any hindrance, which is really nice. So you can stand there and do the kick up, and again swivel all the way around to the back. We have the upper thigh swivel as well. And then the knee is nice. Everything swivels up and around, and it follows through with the same texture pattern, and it doesn't really stick out at all. It has the same colour, and yeah, it looks really nice actually. Now coming down to the ankles, we have one main ball joint in there, so it's got the forward and back motion, and the left and right tilt. A little bit of pivot action, nothing major. A little bit more could have been quite nice. And the standard toe tip point of articulation there. So overall, when everything combined, it is a pretty decent range of motion. I will say my figure is a little bit loose in some of the joints, like everything moves pretty freely. So I'm not really sure if that is going to be an issue long term or not, or if it is going to vary from figure to figure. I haven't had any super tight joints, which is really nice. It is the one point to always be a bit concerned with if a figure is too tight, but everything on this figure so far is moving smoothly. Okay, so let's switch out the head, and as we saw before, all we have to do is grab on the neck and it'll pop right off that ball joint. Then we can take the maskless head here of Tobey Maguire and we can just slot straight in. So this is the neutral, kind of sad frowning face. And overall, I feel like when I look at this one, I definitely think of Tobey Maguire, which is really good. I know there's a little bit of a, not really controversy, but some disgruntled comments online how it doesn't look like him at all. I think if you look at him like this close, it's not going to look like him that much, but when you look at him from a proper distance, this is when it really starts to blend in with all the different curves and shadow in there to actually look like him. Up close, yeah, it blends a bit more. It definitely does look like him, but not really as obvious as if you're looking at a normal distance of, arm's length away. Imagine you have him on your shelf, that is the distance you want, and they'll start looking basically like him. The texture on the hair is really nice, and again we get a decent range of motion when the head is on there. Now the other head we have, let's switch that one on now. Yeah, so this is the smiling version, and I don't know when this is meant to be from in the movie, or if it's from the third Friendly Spider-Man movie. If I squint, it looks like him, but if you didn't tell me it's Tobey Maguire, I think it's just some generic white dude with brown hair. Yeah, so I think this face is a little bit of a letdown, but the other face on the side here, I think this is the one which does capture the lightness really well. But yeah, even I guess kind of far away and close up. I know, let me know in the comments below what you think about these faces, if you think this one also looks like Tobey or not, and same with the first one. The little mask effect is pretty cool. We've got the nice silver eyes on there, and it looks like the mask has been fully pulled off. And then you can combine it with the grabbing hand and just slot it in there. And now you have a maskless version of Spider-Man holding the mask, which is really cool. So I like this. I might probably display it like this myself. Need to, I guess, see what it's like when I get the other two figures as well. So as mentioned earlier, we do have these effects. Maybe a little bit hard to see since they are translucent. But what we can do, we can combine it with the wrist peg and just slots on over like so. And then you can place the hand on to get that web shooting action. Okay, so we have the effect on the wrist here, and yeah, it works really well. Nice and simple, just clipping around that wrist peg and holds on really well. So along with the long one there, we have the two mini short ones, which may be a little bit hard to see. So we've got two of those, and then have two of the I guess semi-long ones here, which is what we have on the body right now. So we also have the hands with the peg slot, where we can take the extra long web and just slot it into the hand like so. So you can have them on a very long web swinging, and this one does have a hook on one end as well. So you can sort of change the positioning around. I mean, I'm not really sure if you can use it. This one is a bit weird, but you can definitely kind of hook up on something and just have it dangling there, which is pretty cool. Okay, so time for the pros and cons for this figure. Yeah, I think just starting off with the pros, I like the finish, the texture, the blue, the red, and the color separation for the spider on the front and back is really nice. And same with the mask, from both the proper masked head, which we have over here, as well as the one that he's holding now. The nice assortment of hands is great. We've got the finger pointing one, we've got ones for holding the glove from both left and right, and we've got the spider web one, which we saw just before, the closed fist, and the one for holding onto the spider web. We have a nice assortment of the webs as well, which will clip onto either left or right wrist, and we have two short, two medium, and that one really long one for a nice variety, which is really good. The unmasked face for the base one that I have on here, I think is actually nice. Is it perfect? Probably not, but it looks like Tobey Maguire when you look at it from a good distance. And when you get up close, you can see some like stubble coming from the face, so there is extra detailing there, which is nice. I just think the other face that came with a kind of happy one, I don't know, it just doesn't quite hit the mark for me. Maybe I need to see the scene that it's based off to really get the resemblance. But yeah, that is also kind of partly of a con. That face I feel is a bit weaker. I think it could have been nice to get a stand with this figure. I feel like without a stand, you're pretty limited to the poses that you can do. To get those nice, badass, dynamic Spider-Man poses, you need him in the air. Fortunately, I don't have any available stands right now to do any of those poses, but I'll definitely be picking up some and displaying. Ooh. I guess it can come into the next con. He's a bit of a fiddly figure to stand up, actually. I feel like the weight distribution, or maybe it's just the joints on him, are a little bit too loose. So yeah, coming back to that point about the stand, I feel like this figure needs a stand for A, badass posing, and B, long-term displaying. Any big knock or shake may make him fall over in the near future. But yeah, overall, first foray into the Marvel line, overall pretty happy. It's, you know, a bit more expensive than the Dragon Ball and other figures, which I don't think it's really warranted, but that's probably the mouse tax coming into play there, unfortunately. Definitely looking forward to getting the other two Spider-Man figures to go with this version. I think maybe one next month and the month after that, maybe. So over the next couple of months will be pretty fun, and definitely be really cool to get them all together. But yeah, if there's anything else you want to know about this figure, check out, or anything like that, let me know, and I can update in the comments, or maybe on Instagram later with some more photos. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, cheers!